Guys, so we are going to get right into the DJ Akademiks Defamation lawsuit. You know me, if it's a defamation suit, I want to read it. We're not going to get all the way into the background context on how we got here, but just for a quick catch up, if you're not familiar with this at all, and YouTube's probably going to demonetize my stream right away for this, but a lot of this kicked off when an accuser named Zaya Abashi came forward. She made a video. I guess she had tried to speak to DJ Akademiks first, and then she came out publicly and made a video. DJ Akademiks responded, and this was months ago. But today we get this filing, and it's just chaos. So this was the video that started it all. I'm sure YouTube's going to love it, but let's play it.
This man continued to lie about me. That's not what happened, Akademiks. You know that that's not what happened. And for you to pretend that you didn't do anything, that I just went to your house and I'm just some thought. Like we didn't know each other for 2 years. You tried to save yourself after your friends assaulted me. Whether or not you got drunk or not, I know that when you woke up, you were on top of me too. You raped me too, and a rape kit was done. You know what? I'm going to come back with my own story. This what you wanted, you're about to get it. I've been quiet for way too long. But I'm not going to stand here and let this man continue to lie about me.
And then today we have a statement from DJ Akademiks. He's already gone live on Rumble. We're obviously not going to watch all of that. But as a quick recap, DJ Akademiks seems to be suggesting that since Rolling Stone was the first one to talk about this lawsuit being filed, he says, and if you're wondering why those articles came out with the laugh emoji, look who runs Rolling Stone. And then he points to government informant and Rock Nation CEO, Desiree Perez. Now, without diving into the Tory Lanez trial, there was a lot of concern about Desiree Perez and something that may have been going on behind the scenes, and DJ Akademiks was pro-Tory during that trial. So, a lot of interesting stuff there. But we're going to get right into the filing because I'm not that interested in what's going on with the internet banter, although I do think it's very interesting that it's Tyrone Blackburn that is filing this complaint. You may know that name because he is the one that drafted the complaint for Lil Rod against Diddy. And he's also the one that has helped Jennifer Huff against Nicki Minaj's husband and Nicki Minaj. So it was both of them, but, you know, two separate actions. But let's get right into it. Let me make this big for you guys to read. And it's 34 pages, which isn't awful. Not entirely awful, but we'll get through it. And then you can see here, this is being filed in Essex County, New Jersey. It was kind of a pain in the butt to get. If you guys want the full filing, send me a message on X. There is some graphic stuff, so I didn't just want to share a link to the whole thing. And also, trigger warning, as we go through this, there is some graphic stuff. And it's a blind read for me, so I don't know exactly how to warn you. So there's your warning now. And then let's see. We're going to call her Zaya for the rest of this complaint, and then DJ Akademiks. And then she also leaves room for John Doe's 1 through 10, and possible Jane Doe's 1 through 10, and ABC Corporation's 1 through 10. Now, what this means is we don't know the exact names of these parties at this time, and we want to leave the floor open in case we discover additional parties that should be named in the suit as we go through the discovery in this case. So, probably a smart move since we're not entirely sure who the two other men that Zaya is going to claim partook in unlawful actions against her on this night. We don't know who they are exactly yet. So that gives space for that, plus any other companies that might be able to be held liable for damages could be added to this suit at a later time. But moving on, let's get into it. So here, on or about July 16th, 2022, they're going to just refer to this day as the incident. Defendant Allen, that's DJ Akademiks, contacted Miss Abashi, and I feel like I'm saying her name wrong. Maybe it's Abash. I'm going to go Abashi, Abash. I'll probably say both throughout this. But Defendant Allen contacted Miss Abashi and invited her to come to his house and visit him in New Jersey, even though it had been almost a year since they last saw each other. Miss Abashi did not suspect any ill intentions and agreed. She was accustomed to visiting Mr. Allen at his home in New Jersey, and Mr. Allen would send a car to pick her up. Miss Abashi lives in Pennsylvania. And if you guys aren't from, I don't know exactly where they are, but Essex County is kind of towards the tri-state area there. There's a nice little border where Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey all are right there. You can like cross the line and hop between them. So not that far of a trip possibly, depending on where she lives in Pennsylvania and where he is in Essex County. On the day of the incident, when Miss Abashi arrived to enjoy her evening, little did she know that defendant Livingston Allen and his two accomplices, so we're going with the full-blown language, they are accomplices, it's all three of them, John Doe's 1 and John Doe 2, would drug and grape her. The morning after the incident, Miss Abashi was unaware of what happened. She only became aware after Mr. Allen showed her surveillance footage of her being essayed by John Doe 1 and 2 on his pool deck. Miss Abashi was in shock and fearful after the reality of what occurred set in. In the aftermath, Abashi reported Mr. Allen and his accomplices' actions to the police, and a rape kit was performed, evidencing that Miss Abashi had been sexually assaulted. Since reporting the horrific rapes, Miss Abashi chose silence and remained silent until, on or about December 30th, 2023, Mr. Allen took to social media and defamed Miss Abashi. Mr. Allen accused Mr. Abashi of voluntarily having an orgy with his friends at his home while maintaining that he never participated at all. This led to a spew of public slander of Mr. Allen. We've got a typo here. Miss Allen. Oh, as Mr. Allen, so DJ Akademiks' account of what happened spread like wildfire on multiple media outlets. Now I'm confused here. Miss Abashi chose silence and remained silent until on or about December 30th. DJ Akademiks took to social media and defamed her, accusing her of voluntarily having an orgy. So I'm confused. So her video wasn't first? I need to do some research on that timeline. As detailed below, Mr. Allen made several public statements defaming Miss Abashi surrounding the events of her assault. She was filled with anger, and all the suppressed, painful memories of that horrific night resurfaced. In her state of anger, Miss Abashi released a video addressing, okay, so video comes after, addressing Mr. Allen's involvement in her sexual assault. In her state of anger. So it looks like they're trying to minimize her intent of releasing this video herself. Language is important when you read these things, guys. We've got accomplices. He's doing this, and then, but when she releases something and speaks publicly, it's just in a state of anger. When Miss Abashi's account was published, Mr. Allen lashed out with false statements. Mr. Allen denied involvement, even though, upon information and belief, Mr. Allen's spermicide was discovered on the rape kit, which publicly damaged Miss Abashi's reputation even further. Now, when they say spermicide, I'm assuming it's a coating from a condom. So, I'm not sure how they're exactly saying it was his spermicide, rather than just spermicide on a condom brand. But we'll go with it. And remember, when you read a filing like this, obviously it's their allegations, it's that party's allegations, and they're protected in some way from what they're saying in the suit. There are certain things that it's safer to say in a lawsuit, in litigation, than it would be to say in the public. Mr. Allen and his two accomplices' sexual assault severely injured Miss Abashi, causing significant physical and psychological pain and suffering, loss of dignity, and invasion of her privacy. Mr. Allen's public statements added to the harm Miss Abashi was already silently suffering with. And now we're going to get into the parties. And I just want to stop and say hey to Gigi in the chat, hey to Chi-Town's Finest, and hey to Arbiko, who is adding that about an hour and a half drive from Pennsylvania to where DJ Akademiks is at in New Jersey. Yeah, so not a big deal to send a car service and scoop someone up. 30-minute drive in New Jersey or New York. Pennsylvania is not the worst with traffic, but in any populated area in Jersey or New York, 30 minutes is not a long trip at all. So thanks for the map questing there. So here they're going to go out, say that Plaintiff Abashi is a writer. She's a resident and she's domiciled in the state of Pennsylvania. Defendant Allen is a social media antagonist. Oh, the wording! He's not an influencer. He's not a personality. He is an antagonist. and commentator primarily known for his presence on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. Allen is currently a resident and domiciled in the state of New Jersey. At all times herein after mentioned, upon information and belief, defendant John Does 1 through 10 were authorized invitees to the premises of New Jersey where plaintiff alleges she was raped. At all times hereinafter mentioned, upon information and belief, defendant John Does 1 through 10 drugged and raped plaintiff on or about July 16, 2022 at the location plaintiff details in this complaint. And that at all times hereinafter mentioned, John Does 1 through 3 and defendant acted with the express and or implied permission, consent, and knowledge of defendants. So, this one's important because that's where they're saying, we had that word accomplice right in the beginning. And here it's saying, hey, at all times, all of these John Doe parties and the defendant are acting with the express or implied permission of defendants, of each other, of the corporations. So all the liability should go across all of them. That's the argument here. And why is that a great argument to add these corporations in? Because that's where you'd get your damages from. So they had the permission. All of them had the permission, expressly or implied from others, to rape plaintiff on or about July 16th at the premises identified in this pleading. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over this action according to 28 U.S.C. And I wonder what that actually... I think that's saying because they live in different states. Because the parties are citizens of different states, and the amount in controversy is going to be more than $75,000 to nobody's surprise. Venue is proper according to the same statute or another section because a substantial part of the events giving rise to this action occurred in this district. Now this is where we get to the allegations. So we're in the factual background. And then let me see. They even have a video with her screaming for her life on Axe Live, and he deleted his Instagram. Yeah, I heard that he deleted his Instagram. Urban Legend, a YouTuber, has the video. It's so sickening. I'm glad you're reporting this. And this is another time, guys, if you're just joining now, this is supposed to be graphic. It's a blind read for me, but it's supposed to be graphic. There are pictures. I scrolled through it, and the reason I didn't post a link in the description to this filing is because I don't just want to be posting links to something with footage to memorialize it. If you DM me, anyone that wants it, DM me on Twitter. I'll send you a drive link to this PDF so you can read it on your own. But yeah, I'm hearing it's crazy, although I did not hear about this video. So maybe we'll have to pull that up. So thank you, Dr. Keisha. And then let me know if you're going to cover it too, because I can shout that out. So here's where we're going to get to the retelling of everything that happened. So way before this 2022 incident, a year earlier, Abashi met Mr. Allen online via social media on or about 2021. She began casually dating him, and he periodically invited her to his New Jersey home. At the time, Miss Abashi lived in Pennsylvania. She did not have transportation, so Mr. Allen would send her a car service, such as Uber and Lyft, to pick her up in Pennsylvania and bring her to his home in New Jersey. As previously stated, on July 16, 2022, Mr. Allen contacted Miss Abashi and invited her to visit him at his house in Jersey. Miss Abashi did not suspect any ill intentions, even though it had been almost a year since they last saw each other. She was accustomed to visiting Mr. Allen, and Mr. Allen sent a car service to Pennsylvania to pick her up. Unbeknownst to Miss Abashi, Mr. Allen had an ulterior motive. So this was planned. This was all a scheme when he invited her to his home on July 16, 2022. Before her arrival, Mr. Allen had notified his friends, John Doe 1 and John Doe 2, that a woman would be coming over and she was on a different, quote, type of vibes. A different, quote, type of vibes is an indication that Miss Abashi would be coming over to engage in sexual activity. According to a post on social media, Mr. Allen admitted to telling John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 and stated, and maybe this is the video here. So we'll pull this up, but the quote here says, "Now granted, this is a girl who I've been dealing with for a couple years. I've messed with her for years. When she came over that time, she had told me she was like a dancer, some shit like that. I remember, and I don't know if maybe I'm not going to say that, took it the wrong way. Because I remember she had told me, she was like, yo, the girl you used to know, like, I'm on some bad girl vibes type shit. Basically, she was like doing her thing. I remember I told them, John Doe 1 and John Doe 2, I'm like, yo, this is before when I was going to the party. I was like, yo, I'm about to go get this girl, Abashi, coming over later for me. She told me she's on different vibes. I don't know if that's what they, John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 took, and I can't really speak to the others. I'll speak to myself. All right, bet, cool. So, I'm assuming this video is actually DJ Akademiks, but let me pull it up. If it's just him, I'm not going to start playing like a whole... Oh yeah, that's like an hour-long thing with DJ Akademiks, but what I'll do is I'll just throw this in here. If any of you guys want to check out the video that's from, that is the video cited in the footnote there. When Miss Sabashi arrived at Mr. Allen's home, everything seemed normal apart from the neighborhood power outage. Dang! The power's just all out? So John Doe 1, and we have a name, so Khalif, a friend of Mr. Allen, greeted her. Miss Abashi was taken aback because Mr. Allen did not tell her anyone else would be at his home upon her arrival. She didn't suspect anything suspicious, so she entered the home. John Doe 1 invited Miss Abashi into the kitchen and introduced her to John Doe 2, who's Slime, another one of Mr. Allen's friends. So, just hanging out with someone named Slime. Due to the power outage, the three of them sat in the kitchen together. Miss Abashi engaged in small talk with him. What are they, like, playing Uno? Like, I guess it is July, like that's the season for, hot, the power lines start getting all messed up. So the three of them are sitting in the kitchen together. Miss Abashi engaged in small talk with them while patiently waiting for Mr. Allen to appear. Miss Abashi recalls John Doe 1 being relatively talkative, while John Doe 2 was oddly quiet. So Slime is being quiet. Miss Abashi was initially offered a drink, but she refused and opted to make her own. It's a smart move, as she was accustomed to when she visited Mr. Allen's home. John Doe 1 insisted that they prepare Miss Abashi's drink. That's a red flag. Unbeknownst to Miss Abashi, John Doe 1 was Mr. Allen's manager or employee. So that's where we're getting some extension of connection or acting under his orders, his permission, his explicit or implied permission. And he asserted his position by telling Miss Abashi that he was in charge until Mr. Allen arrived. As odd as this encounter was, Miss Abashi obliged and allowed John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 to fix her drink. I don't even want to say as a woman, but if you ever feel like something's weird, don't not trust your gut instinct. Make your own drink. As the trio conversed, Miss Abashi asked for Mr. Allen and was told to hold on. John Doe 1 then left the kitchen to find Mr. Allen, and then when he came back, he said Mr. Allen would join them shortly. Miss Abashi believed this was true and did not go to find Mr. Allen himself because the home was completely dark. Admittedly, Miss Abashi recalls having an eerie feeling, but she ignored it because she did not believe that Mr. Allen, whom she had known for nearly 2 years, would harm her or allow her to be harmed. She dismissed these feelings as nerves and waited for Mr. Allen to arrive. Shortly after the power had returned, John Doe 1 asked if Miss Abashi wanted to use the hot tub or pool and wait for Mr. Allen there. Miss Abashi said she'd be okay with the hot tub. So again, Miss Abashi didn't suspect anything, as she was accustomed to using the hot tub and pool when she previously visited Mr. Allen's home. She was also under the impression that John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 would leave after putting the hot tub on, as their actions and gestures made it appear that they were heading out. Now, I wish that they expanded on this. Well, what were the actions? Did they say that they were about to leave? I mean, this is where I'd want some specificity there. But Miss Abashi enters the hot tub alone, so she gets in it, no one else is in there. Shortly after, John Doe 1 appeared from inside the house and proceeded to join her in the hot tub. Shortly after that, John Doe 2 appeared with a bottle of alcohol and began forcing her to take shots of the alcohol. According to Miss Abashi, she vaguely remembers John Doe 2 nervously pacing around the pool area. So, Slime is getting all the shade. So Khalif is showing up, he's probably being like charismatic, and Slime's the one that, according to this telling, is the sketchy, kind of uneasy one. So eventually, Miss Abashi recalls beginning to feel strange. It was not simply a feeling of intoxication, as Miss Abashi had only half of the first drink and a few sips of the new drink that John Doe 1 had provided her as he entered the hot tub. Miss Abashi began feeling extremely hot, as if her body was on fire. She felt extremely lightheaded and dizzy. Upon noticing this, John Doe 2 asked her if she was lit, and then returned to the kitchen. He then returned with more alcohol, which they insisted she drank. They even went so far as to pour the alcohol into Miss Abashi's mouth forcibly. According to Mitsubashi, she recalls John Doe 1 becoming very handsy as he aggressively made sexual advances toward her, which she rejected. Upon information and belief, John Doe 2 was on the sidelines watching while all of this was happening. According to Mitsubashi, John Doe 1 would not take no for an answer and began groping her. He eventually picked her up and tossed her into the pool adjacent to the hot tub. According to Mitsubashi, she was disoriented, had trouble breathing, and struggled to get out of the pool for fear of drowning. That's scary. As she attempted to crawl out of the pool while still disoriented and struggling to breathe, John Doe 1 attacked her. And this is, I think, where, maybe I'll jump over to the chat, but Dr. Keisha, this is where we have one of those videos. So, this can probably, it seems like this might be corroborated. As she attempted to crawl out of the pool while still disoriented and struggling to breathe, John Doe 1 attacked her. He forcibly removed her underwear, opened her legs, and began penetrating her vagina with his erect penis. Mitsubashi did not consent. In fact, due to the alcohol and whatever substance was placed in the alcohol, she was not in the right mindset to consent to any of the sexual acts that were being performed on her by John Doe 1. Mitsubashi has memories of fighting off her attackers, but feeling extremely weak. As John Doe 1 assaulted her, Mr. Ibashi would later learn that John Doe 2 watched from the side and undressed in the bushes nearby. Mitsubashi would later learn that as she laid lifeless on the concrete, John Doe 1 was standing in the pool while shifting her lifeless body back and forth on the concrete. So this says, as she would later learn, she's laying there lifeless. John Doe 1 is shifting her lifeless body back and forth on concrete, while John Doe 2 was undressing and getting ready to soon ambush Mitsubashi. The two men then proceeded to rape Mitsubashi simultaneously. Upon information and belief, and I think, I remember DJ Akademiks, his phrasing was, she came over and she got trained. That was his characterization of what he said he saw in his surveillance. And here we're getting it in this lawsuit filing, a totally different telling. So upon information and belief, this was witnessed by police when the surveillance footage was recovered. As John Doe 1 finished vaginally raping Mitsubashi, he allowed John Doe 2 to rape Mitsubashi vaginally. According to Mitsubashi, lying on the concrete was the last memory she had of that part of the attack. She recalls going in and out of consciousness and does not recall ever entering the home. Whatever substance John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 slipped into Mitsubashi's drink negatively impacted her memory and caused her to lose consciousness. According to Mitsubashi, she recalls being awakened naked in a bed in what she believed was Mr. Allen's bedroom. She believes this was awoken by Mr. Allen savagely pulling her hair, prying open her legs, and brutally raping her. According to Mitsubashi, Mr. Allen was relentless. He tried to penetrate her anally and was frustrated because she kept squirming and moving due to the pain. As a result, Mr. Allen proceeded to rape her vaginally. Upon information and belief, Mr. Allen was not using protection when he anally and vaginally raped Mitsubashi, as evidenced by the purported discovery of his spermicide on the rape kit, which was performed on Mitsubashi a few hours after he raped her. So it was a separate bottle then. It wasn't just something on the condom, according to their telling. Because don't some condoms have spermicide in them? So I'm wondering if they knew, based on maybe the strength of it, there has to be some type of difference there. So, but in either case, if the other two didn't use protection and didn't use spermicide, where would this come from? Mitsubashi recalls begging Mr. Allen to stop raping her. She recalls her voice was faint as she continued to drift in and out of consciousness. Mitsubashi remembers crying for most of this assault, but losing her ability to move physically. Mitsubashi eventually gave up fighting in hopes that Mr. Allen would finish quickly. Mitsubashi recalls Mr. Allen saying, "Open your mouth," as he pulled her hair. He said, "Open your mouth. I want to come in your mouth." This was her last memory of the attack. I guess you could remember things in spotty ways. But if he wanted... I guess I have some questions about the spermicide then, if it actually finished that way, but maybe it didn't actually end that way. And, nothing's ever 100% anyway. But according to Misabashi, she looked around the house and found him in the basement on his computer. According to Misabashi, she sat on the floor next to him, and he asked her if she knew that his friends ran a train on her, to which she said no. So this morning already. So he's sitting on the computer. He's already looking at the computer, I'm assuming at camera footage. According to Misabashi, she sat on the floor next to him, and he asked, "Do you know that my friends ran a train on you?" To which she said no. He kept asking, "Are you sure?" He told her everything was all right, and that he was good if she was cool. According to Misabashi, she was baffled and in disbelief. So this is a little interesting, right? If we're taking all this at face value, and these are allegations, but we know that at some point DJ Akademiks did go look at his computer and look at the security footage. We know he did. So if that morning he's already asking her, "Do you know that my friends ran a train on you?" If this is true, it's not like he had to wait for Misabashi to come to him and say, "Hey, something happened to me last night." He already saw something off and was discussing it with her that morning. And this was July. And then we have this stuff coming out in the suit here. They say December 30th was the date. December 30th, 2023 was the date that DJ Akademiks started talking about it publicly. But here in this lawsuit, he's confronting her about it within hours of it happening. The first thing he does is goes and looks at his computer at the camera footage. So that's really interesting. I need an explanation for that. So he kept asking, "Are you sure?" He told her everything was all right and that he was good if she was cool. According to Misabashi, she was baffled and in disbelief. According to Misabashi, Mr. Allen then asked her to follow him into another room where he showed her the contents of a small trash can that had appeared to be vomit and 2 gold Magnum condom wrappers and asked, "You don't remember this?" Misabashi was still in disbelief. She had zero recollection of ever being in that room the prior night. According to Misabashi, it appeared that after John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 raped her by the pool, the pair had taken her into another room in the house and continued to rape her brutally. So, that's, like, a lot of the stuff we're reading is insane, guys. I'm going to come over to the chat and see what you guys are saying, because let me take a break. Oh, man. Yeah, this is sick. And I think it's interesting, you know, like that's what I'm thinking too, like the plausibility with the memory and feeling a certain way. She seems to have wanted to make her own drink and they're like, "No, no, no." And guys, I've been in that situation before. Like, you can't not trust your own instinct. You can only, in 7 seconds can change your life. That's something that AV, that's the 7th power, always says. 7 seconds can change your life, but sometimes you're the only one. And this isn't to victim blame or victim shame. It's just sometimes that's the only way to make sure your trajectory, what happens to you in the next blink of an eye, sometimes you're the only one that can change that or prevent that thing from happening. So I'm just going to repeat it. If you're ever in a situation, you're feeling uneasy already, and someone's insisting after you've already said you can fix your own drink, they want to do it for you and they're just trying to force it on you. Guys, trust your instinct. Don't worry about being rude, because if all of this is true, in hindsight, anybody I'm sure would go back and say, "I wish I had just been rude and turned down that drink no matter what." But to me, that's, you know, the memory. If she's lifeless in that video footage on the concrete by the pool, you know, I might have some other questions about, you know, did Akademiks really coordinate this whole scheme, right? But for the 2 that were there, if there is this video and she's lifeless sitting there, I would assume that something more than alcohol made that happen in that short period of a time. And then DJ adds that the video of the person screaming is allegedly his other ex, Cheyenne, who was more recent, right? Weren't they like dating when these allegations first, you know, kind of got talked about publicly in the winter? And then She Dreads Me, guys. So She Dreads Me, check out, her name's Tina. She did do videos on this stuff when it was happening, but she's also going to do a new video with this new stuff that's going on, and she'll probably cover way more of the details behind the scenes. I'm here for the lawsuit filing. That's kind of my scope and what I'm limited to. But She Dreads Me posted a flashback video earlier today of coverage she did last year, and the screaming video's in there. So that was already out, and it was Cheyenne. But are we sure there's not a second video now? So, and why did he delete his Instagram due to these allegations if there's no connection? But he's also, you know, he's got some statements. He did a video already, although it was on Rumble. I don't know what his shows are normally platformed on. Is he usually just like a Rumble person rather than YouTube? I know whatever I was reading, he had like a long video today on Rumble talking about this lawsuit. So, which I haven't watched, but maybe I should. And then, hey, dystopian justice. So if you get raped with a tampon, there should be sperm or spermicide evidence in that also. Don't throw it out. Yeah, so that's, I mean, they found something when they tested. And I would be pretty hard pressed to, you know, it was my understanding that condoms could have some type of spermicide in them, but maybe they know it's something different. And that's a closer tie. If he had a bottle of something of a specific strength of spermicide and they're able to say, well, it's not just what's in a condom, it's this thing. That's interesting. And then, hi, Value Man. So good to see you. I appreciate you so much for sponsoring this episode, because I know YouTube's going to hear the language in this filing that we're reading, and they're going to be like, we're cutting you off. So really glad to see you here. Really, really appreciative that you are showing some love and sending some support and, you know, making it worth my time to do videos like this. I appreciate you being here, and I hope, if you didn't already see, AV and the lead attorney are doing a stream on this at 8 p.m. Eastern. So really, when this wraps up, I'm going to be over there. I'm going to send the whole chat over there. And I hope to see you over there because I'll have time to chat with you in the chat. So shout out to you, High Value Man. And then DJ saying, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know anything about academics. And let me say that that's where I'm coming from. Like, that's really where I'm coming from. Except for recently with the rap beef. And then I think you guys are having a conversation amongst yourselves. And Gigi says, DJ Ak is a vile pig. Just the way he talks about black women is disgraceful, so I don't put anything past him. And that's as soon as I saw this news, I was seeing other people bring up that there's more allegations than just this one under the surface. And I'm not saying that to corroborate it or put any weight behind it. I'm just relaying something that I came across that people are already saying in my limited scope of seeing this lawsuit news come out today. But it's not, it certainly seems like the sentiment is that you're right on with the sentiment there. And I don't care if DJ Akademiks fans want to come in here and say something. I'm just reading a lawsuit, which I'll get back to right now. So they had just discovered, well, not just discovered, but DJ Akademiks is walking Mitsubishi around and saying, do you see this? Do you remember this? So Mr. Allen then handed her the can of vomit and asked her to throw it away. Mitsubishi then asked for her phone, and Mr. Allen went to retrieve it. He continued telling her everything was all right, if she was okay. At this point, she was still in disbelief and asked for proof of what occurred. So, was he already looking at the footage but wouldn't show her the footage? That's my question here. He's sitting at his computer, questions her, but she wants to see the proof. So according to Mitsubishi, Mr. Allen showed her surveillance footage of John Doe 1 raping her briefly and skipped through the video. So he's skipping through it. According to Mitsubishi, as she watched the video, she looked like she was just lying there lifeless, which didn't sit right with her. According to Mitsubishi, Mr. Allen then assured her that everything was okay, and as he spoke, he noticed Mitsubashi's demeanor had begun to change. Mr. Allen then hastily told her that his mother was on the way and would be there shortly and proceeded to order her lift back to Pennsylvania. According to Mitsubishi, Mr. Allen asked where her clothing was. She responded that she had it. He stood there with a suspicious look on his face. Mitsubishi later learned from the police, that Mr. Allen disposed of several items, bed sheets, at the dumpster near his office. That's not good. That does not look good. Okay, I know a lot of people work from home, but I don't think that this would be worded this way if this was like, this is still the same trash I throw everything away in. And even if it was the trash right outside your residence, If you threw them out right at that exact moment and you're not just known. I heard a rumor once. I had my friend's mom used to do like wardrobe before she retired. And she said that Brad Pitt and certain celebrities, they have hygiene problems, and certain things like their socks and undergarments, they'll just throw away and replace. I mean, that's like first world problems, right? You can just like throw away, wear it once, throw it away. But unless you're the type of person that every time you have a guest over, you throw your sheets away, how do you explain this? Especially if you're going somewhere else to go throw it away. And this lawsuit's saying that the police uncovered this. So it's not just something that's coming out of someone's head. It's something that the police apparently discovered. So how do you explain that away? I would love to see someone try, because that's pretty big. Presumably, Mr. Allen was attempting to destroy the evidence of Miss Abashi's rape. Miss Abashi began feeling uneasy. She felt that Mr. Allen was, and I do want to be clear here, there's still the whole argument, like, was this coordinated? Did all three participate? Was it ordained by DJ Akademiks? It technically could have been someone else that brought the sheets over there. And were they instructed to, if that was the case? Miss Abashi began feeling uneasy. She felt that Mr. Allen was attempting to take her clothes for some reason, presumably to hide whatever evidence she may have of what happened to her the night before. As these thoughts ran through her mind so as not to alarm Mr. Allen, Miss Abashi remained composed as she waited for her lift to arrive. Miss Abashi said bye to Mr. Allen and left his home. According to Miss Abashi, she called Mr. Allen while in the lift, asking for more answers. He then began to blame her and ridicule her. Still trying to get answers, she pleaded with him, even apologizing for what occurred, as she was desperate to learn of the series of events that had led to Mr. Allen and his accomplice's attack on her. According to Miss Abashi, she asked Mr. Allen, "Well, you said that it was both of them, but you only showed me one. Can you please send me proof of this?" To which Mr. Allen sent a screenshot of the attack on Miss Abashi laid out on the concrete in front of the pool, with John Doe 1 between her legs and John Doe 2 sitting on top of her face, presumably with his penis and testicles in her mouth. This was terrifying to her, as she knew within herself that she would never consent to any of this. Even though she had previously been intimate with Mr. Allen in years past, it was never a threesome or anything other than one-on-one consensual sex. As she arrived home, where she felt safest, the reality of what had happened began to set in. Miss Abashi also began feeling intense vaginal and anal pain. She contacted Mr. Allen again, saying she was hurt and wanted to see someone. Miss Abashi felt destroyed, but also was afraid, and wanted to know if there would be repercussions for Mr. Allen if she were to seek help. She asked him for the complete footage, and Mr. Allen refused. He suggested she get tested. And this is something that was already talked about, right? Before this lawsuit needed to be filed, that he was the one suggesting, like, go get tested, and said he's going to go do the same. Why would you need to do the same? Because you had already found out at this point. According to Akademiks, he found out because of security footage, but according to this lawsuit, he found out because he ordained it before it even happened. He's like, oh, my boys hit, and then I hit right after, so I should probably go get tested, right? This was an odd statement, as it was proof that Mr. Allen, who had not slept with Miss Abashi for over a year, engaged in unprotected sexual intercourse with Miss Abashi. Still fearful, Miss Abashi contacted her immigration lawyer, who advised her to contact the police regardless of the outcome. So that adds another wrench in here, right? Some people are scared to speak to police when they don't have a full immigration status, but at the same time, I guarantee you we'll see from the defense that there could be an underlying motive for her to, file some claim. So that's going to be, there's going to be legal wildfire back and forth with this. Miss Abashi called the police and reported an incident of sexual assault. They told her that due to the seriousness of such a matter, she needed to appear in person to speak with them, and that she should also visit a local hospital for a SANE test rape kit. She went to the hospital, Penn State Health St. Joseph, where the SANE test was performed, and the police called Miss Abashi to schedule a meeting. According to Miss Abashi, during the meeting with police, a statement was taken. Photographs of her bruises and scars were taken. And that's the thing, guys. Scars, there's gotta be, like, abrasions. Like concrete? Because the concrete that they lay around in-ground pools is meant to be abrasive, like pumice stone, because they don't want you, like, running and slipping on the wet tile and, like, cracking your head around the pool while it's all wet. So that is abrasive. It's not, like, smooth. So I have no doubt that if this is even this true, that she's got scrapes across her back. And the officers asked her to participate in a recorded wire call with Mr. Allen. What? Oh, okay. So let's do it. So according to Miss Abashi, during the recorded wire call, the police wrote down a list of questions for Miss Abashi to ask Mr. Allen, but told her not to make it evident that the police were listening. Miss Abashi remembers asking Mr. Allen to describe how she looked when he saw her in bed. He answered, "You looked like you were in the pool." According to Miss Abashi, on this call, Mr. Allen graphically recounts and admits to having sexual intercourse with Miss Abashi, even going so far to describe her vagina as being loose, stating, "I know what your pussy feels like, that shit felt loose." Oh my god. Not only is that a horrible thing to say in general, but you're saying that to someone who's telling you she's uneasy about what happened the night before. And then you're saying this on a wire. This is wild. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm at the point where I'm hearing that this is a wired police call. I'm innocent till proven guilty, right? This isn't really a criminal case, but I guess it could have been. It's a civil case. That's just a standard of probability. I think I'm beyond standard of probability that Mr. Allen's in hot water and those other two are certainly in hot water. We'll wait for the response, but let's keep going with this. That's crazy. And to be saying all of that on a wired call. Based on information and belief, this evidence was used to obtain a warrant for the footage, and police secured the footage and other evidence. According to Miss Abashi, the results of the SANE test produced evidence that Miss Abashi had been sexually assaulted. In addition to the rape kit, Miss Abashi had images of bruises on her arm, back, buttocks, and legs that are evidence of the struggle she endured and the sheer brutality of the attack. At the time of her attack, Miss Abashi, who was 5'5" and weighed less than 115 pounds, the attackers were approximately 5'10", 160 pounds, which is John Doe 1, and 5'11", 180 pounds, John Doe 2. As detailed earlier, Miss Abashi was sexually assaulted on a concrete pool deck. As evidence, so guys, trigger warning, we are going to get to a photo. I believe there's more than one on the next page. So trigger warning if you don't want to see it. I'll let you know when we get to another page with no pictures. Miss Abashi's body was lying limp and lifeless while John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 proceeded to pull her back and forth on the concrete, causing bruises and lacerations on her body. Yeah, if someone's just dragging your body across the concrete, my bet is if you're not unconscious, you're not cognizant, you're not all there. Dang. Yeah. And her hands are flat down. So I'm not going to try to keep this up on the screen much longer. But if you're trying to party and be lit, I feel like usually you would try to be animated and looking sexy while this is going on. You try to pull out your inner porn star, and this does not look like that, guys. This looks like she's on the concrete, and he just happens to be holding her feet up. So this is crazy. We're going to move on. And so there's no picture on the screen right now. But after this paragraph, there's more. This is crazy, guys. Miss Abashi was unconscious or incoherent because it is unconscionable to believe that any person who is a willing participant in these acts can endure the pain of being dragged back and forth on the concrete, incurring scrapes and scratches on their back, buttocks, and elbows, especially while there's an empty lawn chair in arm's reach, as well as several empty rooms in the home. Below are some of the injuries, so we're going back to images, guys. So you've got scrapes. This looks like it's white on the inside, this cut on the right. So she's got scrapes like right on the spine, because your spine, and she's skinny, right? So there's not much weight. So if she's on her back being dragged, the spine is going to be that surface area that makes the contact. And how else do you explain this? Like, if it was consensual, there's no way that if you felt this on your back, you wouldn't have said, "Oh God, this is a bad idea. Let's relocate." So my standard of probability meter is like percent believing this girl. 100% for these two guys specifically. Mr. Allen's hubris, guilty conscience, and sheer stupidity caused him, so the pictures are off the screen, guys, caused him to incriminate himself in several social media posts. This is where we get to the December 30th stuff that's coming out. So this is... And hold on, I have another question. So DJ Akademiks gets home, and I can't imagine she was anything less than drugged. Something was in her drinks that they made her drink. Because you would think at that point with your back, and I'm not going to go back to the pictures, but with her back scratched up like that, now when you get into a bed at some point, you're still going to feel that. You're still going to feel it. So 100% she was either not all there because she was drugged, which how's DJ Akademiks going to claim there was consent? But two, even if she doesn't remember things, I find it hard to believe she wasn't already mentioning, if she says she was laying there and DJ Akademiks was on top of her, being forceful and being aggressive with her, and that stuff's on her back, even if she doesn't remember it because she's in and out of consciousness, she probably expressed something in the time to DJ Akademiks. And then he continued to have intercourse with her anyway. So he can get the 100% too. So he goes to social media on December 30th. They raided my house because there was a woman that came to my house. That woman claimed she was sexually assaulted. So she goes to the police the same day, or the hospital, and she has a meeting with the police. So she goes to the hospital the same day. The police, it seems like they have her do a wired call pretty right then and there. And now this is December. He's talking about a raid. Not by me, but by other people. But it happened in my house. I'm going to tell you why they raided my house. I actually even tell a whole full story. Let me just tell a full story. I'm telling a full story, and I'm going to tell you exactly what the cops say. The shorty I was dealing with, she comes over. I'm drunk at a party. I come home. I'm so drunk. And guys, even if he had nothing to do with this, this wouldn't look good for him either. Because you're basically coming home and saying, how would you have known that someone was consenting? You're so drunk you're not even in control of yourself. I can't drive my own car. I walk upstairs to where my master bedroom is, and I fall out. Y'all going to see what the lesson is in this. I just pass out. Forgot I Ubered a bitch to my crib. I just passed out. Forgot I Ubered a bitch to my crib. So 4 a.m. I remember I'm at my crib at 9. 4 a.m. comes. I'm knocked out. So you get home at 9 p.m. And at 4 a.m. you're knocked out. You've never seen the girl. I'd never seen her. My homies wake me up on some shit, Ack, we're leaving. How are you saying you've never seen the girl? I'm like, oh shit, damn, I was fucked. Damn, I'm fucked up type of shit. Y'all been sleeping. Or does he mean he's never seen the girl that night? I'd never seen her that night. They're like, lock the door because we're leaving. I said they're leaving at 4 or 5 a.m. All right, I bet, and I go lock the door. Then they say to me, well, I'm locked in the door. They say, oh, by the way, that girl you invited, she's down there in the other end of your house in the guest bedroom. I look at them and I say, what girl I invited? They said, bro, remember you invited a girl. Remember the girl you... I said, what are you talking about? They say, yo, so-and-so. They described her. I said, oh shit. Anyway, they leave. I'll go out. I walk down the hallway. I go down the hallway to my guest bedroom and I see the girl and I said, oh shit. I noticed this couple of things. First of all, she naked. Second of all, her hair is like frizzy and shit like that. This is the summertime. Almost like she went in the pool type shit. I got a pool, like it's a big ass pool. Anyway, no one cares how big your pool is. Anyway, I'm like, what's good with you? I'm waking her up. I'm like, yo, you sleeping? What's up? Anyway, I go downstairs. Now granted, this is the girl I've been dealing with for a couple years. I've messed with her for years. When she came over that time, she had told me she was like a dancer, some shit like that. I remember, and I don't remember if my friends took it the wrong way, because I remember she had told me, she was like, yo, the girl you used to know, like I'm on some bad girl type shit now. Basically, she was doing her thing. I remember I told them, I'm like, yo, this is before when I was going to the party. I was like, yo, I'm about to get this girl coming over later for me. She told me she was on some different vibes. I don't know if that's what they took, and I can't really speak to my friend's thing. I'll only speak to myself. All right, bet. Cool. We're in the morning now. Once the morning happened, and I remember even that night, like that night when she woke up, I wasn't going into my backyard, and I'm like, something don't look right back there. When I look into my camera in the morning, gang, the shorty was getting like, I don't even like that. She was getting trained by my two mens on my pool deck the night before when I'm sleeping. I'm dead ass. This is what happened. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? I invited you over here. I paid the lift. The lift was $200. Then you shit like, I don't want to say what she like. What? How could you come to my joint and get trained by my mans while I'm sleeping? Now this is where I'm going to be honest with you, men. Y'all gotta learn this lesson from me, and this is sincere. So you mean to tell me he says his own words? So this is he's tattling on himself. You say you're really drunk, you couldn't even drive your car home, but you're home at 9 p.m. And then suddenly it's 4 a.m. and you never see this woman. Even though you knew you ordered a lift, you somehow forgot all of that by 9 p.m. What's his excuse going to be, that he drank whatever his friends must have drugged? like, where are we at? And it's his own words. It's his own words. He gets raided and decides to go live and spill everything that we just read. It's his own words. This is him talking when he knows there's a radar on him. And he's still making stupid statements that don't make sense. As evidenced by the December 30th, 2023 social media post, Mr. Allen defamed Ms. Abashi by accusing her of voluntarily having an orgy with his friends at his home, while maintaining that he never participated at all. As evidenced by the December 30th, 2023, Mr. Allen portrayed Ms. Abashi as an unloyal slut that betrayed him and voluntarily slept with his friends at his home behind his back. Well, maybe if you had just paid $200 and you're complaining about that $200 to have her come over and visit, and you were there since 9 p.m., maybe this all could have been avoided if you just were there to receive your guest when she showed up. This doesn't make sense. Upon information and belief, these claims were made to hundreds of thousands of Mr. Allen's YouTube and TikTok subscribers. Mr. Allen knew that his statements on December 30th were misleading and false, as he was in possession of text messages from Ms. Abashi, where she stated she did not know what happened to her on July 16th, and that it was Mr. Allen who informed her of the night's events. She even expressed to him the fact that she was really hurt and needed to seek medical attention and a rape kit. So I think these were out already, right? These same screenshots. So I'm going to get tested this week. Think you should too. Make sure you're good. Yes, I'm going now. So this is July 17th, guys. I'm hurt really bad. It's unlike me to do this, and I don't even know the other guy's name, so I was just laying there. So he doesn't answer. She tries to call. He doesn't answer. And then July 18th, afternoon, you called? She repeats, I'm considering going in for a rape testing kit for us to figure this out, because it's bits and pieces I remember, and I'm still not okay. I mean, not sure what you want me to say, that's why I asked you. Well, she wanted you to pick up the phone to talk to you, but because you didn't pick up for a day, now you have this text message that really doesn't look good for you, TJ Akademiks. So the rest of his text says, that's why I asked you while you were here if everything you did while I was sleeping you were okay with doing, and you said yeah, so I don't know. I was passed out for most of it, but I'd wake up now and then. Also, I was in shock. I got most of the information from you. Before then, I never met the other guy. It's just one guy at this point. So maybe she doesn't know at this point that the other guy, when does he send that screenshot? Is it after these messages? Before then, I never met the other guy, so he just took the opportunity, I guess. That's why I told you I don't judge, just trying to make sure you made the choice to do whatever you wanted to do. Always with you, but not this time. Not this time around. I blacked out. I remember you waking me up during the night. They said you were trying to call and bring your friend to join in, LOL. Clearly, all these text messages had no impact on Mr. Allen's decision to defame Ms. Abashi to his YouTube and TikTok followers. Upon information and belief, a week before the December 30th post, an Instagram page with the handle Kendra36 commented under Ms. Abashi's post, pleading with her to come forward with her story. Okay, who's Kendra36? According to Ms. Abashi, all of this brought back the painful memories she had desperately tried for months to suppress. She never communicated with the user or addressed the incident until Mr. Allen brought the incident to the world via his December 30th, 2023 post. In a state of anger, Ms. Abache released a short video addressing Mr. Allen and saying that the sex that happened was never consensual and that he indeed participated. This led to further public slander as multiple media outlets began publishing Mr. Allen's account of what happened, leading to Ms. Abache's reputation to suffer significant harm. On December 31st, 2023, Mr. Allen issued the following public statement to his social media account. I'm sure a statement written by DJ Akademiks is going to be great prose, very poetic. So, what I'll say is, I wasn't even going to post these type of joints. But I see Shorty, who clearly was involved in the situation. By the way, Shorty, I didn't bring this up to make you look no way. This was a dealing between me and my girl, or me and my ex-girl. She just kept using that incident, so I just spoke on it and cleared it. Why? Because your girlfriend found out that your house was getting raided? Because people wanted to see if rape allegations were true? So you're saying your girlfriend just kept using that incident? Like, this isn't just like a random girlfriend nagging you about something little, like, leaving the toilet seat up or something. I didn't mean to make you look no type of way. I haven't spoken on you. You did. You said she got... Okay. You're right. I just said what happened. That's... Okay, this is problematic in a defamation case because you're doubling down that it's factual, even after correction, and you're making this as a public statement. This isn't a statement to friends or to the person that you're trying to figure something out with. This is a public statement to your social media account, and you're reiterating that you just said what happened. You're saying facts. They're going to eat him alive with this when they need to go after defamation elements. Because in a defamation case, part of it is, we gave you a chance to try to correct it, but instead you double down and continue saying it as if it was fact, without giving your audience, any other information to say, oh, it's just what you believe and here's how you formed your opinion. You're saying it as fact, and you are the source of those facts. That's, it sounds like malice. That's an element being checked off right here. I didn't even say who you were. You're the one who just jumped out the woodworks. I'd have never said who you were, Shorty, okay? I'm not even going to play because she made a video. I'm not even going to play the video you made. What I do want to show, number one, first and foremost, if everything or anything you're saying is true, someone would have been charged. Nothing happened. Why did he use the hard R against himself? Is that just like a dig at police? They'd be like grasping at the chance to charge him? Nothing happened. You feel me? No case, no nothing. They raided your house. Didn't he make this video like right when they raided his house? Okay, also, I'll say this. These are things that the police and everybody else looked at they damn self. Who's everybody else? Unlike the cost in that incident, I will say this one was something that the police handled, not social media. It's crazy how the police handled it. Nothing happened. They said, oh, okay, this wasn't shit. So he's quoting the police as saying this. I think She Dreads Me went into this. I think She Dreads Me did a video breaking this statement down. But yeah, I don't think this is a direct quote, but maybe it is. So, okay, this wasn't shit. Now, Shorty is trying to, again, I don't know how she just jumped into the mix, but I'm going to show you exactly. By the way, I can't show you certain shit. Like, for example, I sent her a video of her at my poolside with, why is he calling his friends the hard R? I said I was sleeping. I can't show you that explicit photo. I still got the image of that, you feel me? I can't post it on here. Clearly, the police seen all of this shit. They've seen everything. So I wonder if this photo he's thinking of is the photo we saw on page 12 of this filing. So, since Mr. Allen went on his defamatory... And if you think it didn't happen, if the police found nothing, why are you turning on your two friends or employees or whatever they are? Two people that you were comfortable having at your house, either alone or while you were there and just hiding in the shadows? Because I don't understand the timeline of all of this happening if DJ Akademiks said he was there at 9 p.m. But okay. And you're changing on your friends, which would be a signal. You're acknowledging that your friends did what? Not something good. Since Mr. Allen went on his defamatory tirade about Miss Abache, several other women have come forward with eerily similar accounts of Mr. Allen befriending them, grooming them, inviting them to his house, getting them intoxicated, and then assaulting them. Upon information and belief, Because of these subsequent victim accounts, Mr. Allen has a pattern and practice of engaging in predatory behavior. Now, notice this is just Mr. Allen. This isn't Mr. Allen has a habit of doing this and then a group of people are here. This other people that came forward are saying that it's Mr. Allen. At least that's how it's being characterized here. Hold on, I'm going to check the chat. Say a prayer for whoever was transcribing Akademiks stream, because I can barely get through the transcription. But I don't know. Should we watch that video? Maybe we'll pull it up at the end if we have time to see. Or that was a statement on social media. Was that a YouTube video? This following is the link to the YouTube video. So I guess we'd be able to see if he was actually saying it with the hard R if we want to. I can search the transcripts and we can go over to it. So, okay, and then Aisha Kenya asks, is she suing the other two men as well? So there are John Doe's 1 through 10, Jane Doe's 1 through 10, and ABC Corporation's 1 through 10 named as defendants in the lawsuit, so that way they can fill in anything they need to through discovery. At the beginning, she did ascribe, or I guess technically Tyrone Blackburn, because he drafted this complaint, did ascribe first names to John Doe 1 and 2, Khalif and Slime. So we have a possible first name for the second John Doe, and then she also gave a weight and height description. But other than that, even if we didn't get that little bit of information, he did leave room in filing this complaint to include that information through further discovery. So later down the line, even in an amended complaint, if he wanted to, he could go and identify these people. Now, what happens is all eyes are on this, right? If there are these other women that are coming forward and they weren't able to mention other people being involved, but they remember, maybe they could come and say, hey, I also remember a Khalif and this was his last name. Or I also remember a Slime, but I heard him say his first name at some point and this is it. So that type of thing you get that stacking of corroboration happening. But in any case, discovery, I wouldn't be surprised if DJ Akademiks is willing to give up his names. If they're employees and they've been paid by any of his companies, they'll get the paperwork, go through it, and try to put 2 and 2 together onto who the two men are. And I'm not going to scroll up to the picture, but they were sort of identifiable in that one picture we saw, and they have a whole video. Plus they have video footage from more than just that part of the night, so I'm sure they'll be identified, I have no doubt. But I'm also curious as to the police investigation. How did this not lead to criminal charges? I don't know. On one hand, sometimes things move slowly. On the other hand, it's already 5 months out from when it seems like this raid took place. That's far away. That's far away. And E. Capone, I'm with you. These dudes are low. And listen, I came into this like, I'm not trying to say anything that will be favorable to DJ Akademiks, but when I read defamation suits, I like to, whatever party I'm reading, I like to look for good arguments and weak arguments. And we happen to be reading from the accuser's side. This is a complaint drafted by Tyrone Blackburn on behalf of Zaya Abashi. So everything in here is going to be written in a way that's favorable to her take of events and her claims against DJ Akademiks and all the John and Jane Does. But at the same time, there's a lot in here that, even if we know that this is going to be written in the worst light towards DJ Akademiks, there's only so much grace you can give certain things. To say, well, on the flip side, we haven't heard the other side. There's certain things in here. How are you going to explain it, DJ Akademiks? And your own words are already problematic. What is this 9 p.m.? You're mad that you spent $200 for someone to lift out to you, and you never even got to spend time with them or whatever you're complaining about. But you were sitting there since 9 p.m. while all this was happening, and then you act like you knew nothing about it, had never seen the woman the whole night. I don't care if someone's rich and has a big house. No house is that small, especially if the first thing you do is get up and look at your security cameras. You already know. And that's how I'm feeling, Dr. Keisha. Like, no heart deserves whatever comes out of this, all of them. And it seems like in his streams, he's protecting his friends, right? He's not going into names. So I don't know. And Pam, yes. Hey, Pam. This is quite the loaded shenanigan. I don't know if it's worse than a shenanigan. Shenanigan is too nice of a word. And yeah, so his statements are questionable about this case. He's already trying to defer it to it being Desiree Parks, the Rock Nation chick. He's trying to attribute this as if it's some trickle-down result of his coverage of the Tory Lanez trial. Like, it's not really what I'd be focused on, how one should respond to this. And yeah, so I'm with you, and I appreciate that, Laura DDS. I'm struggling a little bit. The picture caught me off guard, even though they warmed me up to it. But that concrete, I'm having a hard time believing that that was consensual. I can't convince myself. I feel like I'm 100% against those two and like above 95% against Akademiks, at least for his claim that he had no idea what was going on from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Well, let's keep going. And we'll have to see again, these other things. Guys, just because this woman's telling the truth and has a story doesn't necessarily mean that everybody that comes forward and says the same thing happened to me is coming forward with earnest intentions or truthfulness. So we'll have to see these facts on their own, right? And look at them on their own merits. Okay, so this is where we get into more details. Upon information and belief, several women have come forward and said that Mr. Allen contacted them when they were minors, forged a fake friendship, groomed them until they were 18, and then attempted to sleep with them. Upon information and belief, Mr. Allen foolishly attributes his lack of arrest. So this is what the whole chat's talking about. Mr. Allen foolishly attributes his lack of arrest or prosecution for drugging and gang raping Mr. Abashi. I think that's supposed to be Miss. Maybe that's like a Freudian slip about DJ Akademiks. As some indication that he and his friends are clear, but nothing can be further from the truth. As the result of Mr. Allen's social media tirade against Ms. Abashi, Mr. Allen has committed defamation per se, and foolish defamation per se means on its face, the thing you're claiming me of is it's going to hurt my reputation. You're calling me a thought, you're saying I got a train ran on me, my business isn't centered around me being a thought for a living, so that's obviously going to be damaging. It's not celebratory. And then you're calling me a liar. You're saying I'm trying to come out and bring you down. And he foolishly admitted that he and his friends had sexual intercourse with her on July 16th. As detailed above, Mr. Allen communicated several demonstrably false statements accusing Ms. Abashi of voluntarily having an orgy with his friends at his home. Mr. Allen repeatedly made these statements to hundreds of thousands of his friends on social media. As a result of Mr. Allen's statements, several media outlets picked up and republished the claims, and Ms. Abashi's reputation has been harmed. Furthermore, Mr. Allen's social media posts are considered slander per se, as Mr. Allen accused Ms. Abashi of engaging in serious sexual misconduct. Ms. Abashi repeats and realleges by reference all paragraphs above as though fully set forth herein. Defendant's conduct created an unreasonable risk of causing emotional distress to Ms. Abashi, and the defendants knew or should have known that such conduct, drugging and raping plaintiff, was likely to result in emotional distress that might likely, or would likely, cause illness or bodily harm. Now, a lot of these are going to repeat the same facts. We're going to get through negligent infliction of emotional distress, and then it'll pretty much repeat itself through all the causes of action. Ms. Abashi's emotional distress was foreseeable to the defendants, as a direct and proximate result of said extreme and outrageous conduct by the defendants and his accomplices. So guys, if you were here in the beginning, when I read that word accomplice, I'm like, oh, we are going with the language. But now it doesn't just seem like a smoke and mirrors type of word. It seems like there could be a there. Ms. Abashi suffered humiliation, mental anguish, dissociation, and emotional and physical distress, and has been hurt and injured in her health, both mentally and physically, strength, activity, and her ability to lead an everyday life without mental anguish. All of these have caused, continue to cause, and will continue to cause plaintiff great mental and physical pain and suffering the rest of her life. As a result of such severe mental and emotional distress, Ms. Abashi has been generally, especially, and consequentially damaged in an amount to be established according to evidence. The defendant's behavior towards Ms. Abashi was so outrageous as to exceed all reasonable bounds of decency. Yeah, like telling her that her pussy felt loose and it shouldn't feel that way on a wired call with the police. The defendants knew with substantial certainty, or should have known, that their behavior would cause Ms. Abashi to be a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual contact. The defendants knew with substantial certainty, or should have known, that drugging and raping plaintiff would cause her to endure severe emotional distress. And then they're going to go on to say that, she's entitled to whatever punitive damages to be established at trial. And she wants a jury trial, by the way. Then we have defamation per se. And then this is important too, because these are the elements here to establish defamation per se. Mr. Allen's false statement regarding Ms. Abashi was defamation per se. Mr. Allen's false and defamatory statements was published on social media and elsewhere on the internet through the state of New Jersey and around the world. Mr. Allen ensured that his false and defamatory statement about Ms. Abashi would receive wide circulation. Mr. Allen made his false and defamatory statement knowing that it was false or reckless disregard for its truth or falsity. And what's the other problem here? He said in the statement that they put here, and I don't see them calling it out here. They should. I'm sure they will at trial. He said in his own statements when he's talking about this on social media, I'm going to choose not to show her video. Which is what? You're continuing to push your side only to your audience and prevent your audience from being able to look at the information that you have available to you. That's a problem in defamation. That's a problem. And they don't list it here, but hopefully when they're making their arguments, they'll bring that up in trial. Mr. Allen ensured that his false and defamatory statement about Ms. Abashi would receive wide circulation. Mr. Allen made his false and defamatory statement knowing that it was false or with reckless disregard for its truth or falsity. And this would go to reckless disregard. You're saying like, oh, forget that there's this video that she did. You guys don't look at that. I'm not going to show you that. Mr. Allen made his false statement with ill will and spite, with wanton, reckless, or willful disregard for its injurious effects on Ms. Abashi and her rights. So, DJ Akademiks' false and defamatory statement caused Ms. Abashi to suffer reputational, emotional, and professional harm. As a result of Mr. Allen's actions, Ms. Abashi is entitled to an award of exemplary or punitive damages in an amount to be established at trial to meaningfully punish defendant. So then they're going to go into the essay. And here they're talking more about the defendants, all of the defendants. They're going to reiterate the factual allegations above. And they're saying here, upon information and belief, the defendant's spermicide was discovered on the rape kit Ms. Abashi completed the morning after. So she went on, I guess that would be July 17th, the morning after being assaulted by the defendants. As a result of defendant's conduct, Ms. Abashi has suffered. She continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages, for which she's entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. So, I want to go back up to those text messages. What were the timestamps on? This could be another way that he looks stupid. Okay, so yes, I'm going now. So that was at 6:34 p.m. I wonder if by the time she's sending these texts, because this is 12:34 in the afternoon, I'm wondering if she'd already went. And honestly, that's smart of her. Like, if you're the victim, if you're in that situation, don't wait. Go right away. Because they're saying here it was completed the morning after. The negligence, and this is going to be because it happened on the property. So, duty to care, breach of that duty, actual and proximate causation. And then prayer for relief. So this is what she's asking for because of all of this that happened to me. Plaintiff prays that the court enter judgment in her favor and against defendants containing the following relief. Declaratory judgment that the actions, conduct, and practices of defendants complained of herein violate the laws of the state of New Jersey. An award of damages against defendants, plural, in an amount to be determined at trial, plus pre-judgment interest to compensate plaintiff for all monetary and or economic damages. An award of damages against defendants in an award to be determined at trial, plus pre-judgment arrest, all of that, for compensatory damages. So, including but not limiting to compensation for mental anguish, humiliation, embarrassment, stress and anxiety, emotional pain and suffering, and emotional distress. An award of punitive damages. Prejudgment interest on all amounts due. Guys, and I don't know if there's a statutory limitation on punitive damages in Jersey, but if a jury finds him guilty, they will slap him on the side of the head with punitive damages. Prejudgment interest on all amounts due. An award of costs that plaintiff has incurred in this action, including but not limited to expert witness fees, as well as plaintiff's reasonable attorney fees and costs to the fullest extent permitted by law, and such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. So, we want a trial by jury on all issues here, and then it's signed by Tyrone Blackburn. And then anything else important here? Demand for insurance coverage. Defendants are demanded to provide a copy of their applicable insurance policies and declaration sheets demonstrating coverage within 30 days of service of this complaint. So, now that could be two things. That could be if there's any policies here with indemnity for things that could damage your reputation. Some insurance policies carry that. In the Depp vs. Heard case, Amber Heard had 2 homeowners insurance policies that carried indemnity for reputational harm. So a lot of her legal counsel, at least in the US trial, the Fairfax trial, was actually covered by Travelers Insurance. And her 2 insurance companies, because they switched and she switched attorneys, they actually litigated against each other because the one didn't want to have to pay for the attorneys the other insurance company chose, right? So there was a lot going on with those moving parts. I guess this could also be some insurance policies relating to, since this has happened in his property and she had medical expenses and she was injured, maybe they're looking for, do you have an insurance policy that could help pay out for something that was incurred on your property? So that could mean 2 different things here. We'll have to see more on that. And this was actually dated yesterday. So Tyrone Blackburn, it's my understanding, he will send copies of the suit. I grabbed this from the Jersey court website, but it's my understanding that he will send out copies to certain creators. I believe he sent the Lil Rod filing to the lead attorney. The lead attorney read it. So it kind of makes sense why we had all this coverage. The Rolling Stone had their big article on it today, and some creators are already looking at this case. But that's it. It's certified. It's filed. We have a preservation notice, so don't alter anything here. You are directed to prevent spoliation. Oh boy. So don't go and alter anything. Don't go change anything. So anyone that has access, so any one of the defendants and any of their employees or their agents, their IT people, any of their staff and assistants, don't go and do anything with electronically stored information. Don't go try to wipe your cell phone. Don't go try to clean your laptop. Don't go try to clean your social media accounts. Don't go try to delete your voice messages. Don't go delete your emails. You're directed not to modify, alter, or delete, or allow modifications, alterations, or deletions to be made to any electronically stored information. You're further directed to preserve all and not to destroy any passwords, decryption productions, network access codes, all of it. This is the kitchen sink, guys. And if you have paper information, don't destroy it. They're not playing. They are not playing. And we have a demand for answers. I forgot I downloaded all of this. I was wondering why it was more pages than the other filing. I clicked both boxes when I downloaded this file. But now we're into interrogatories. So what are they demanding that DJ Akademiks, well, the defendants, right? But as far as I know, it's only really served on DJ Akademiks because the others are just named as John Doe 1 and 2. So essentially, we're demanding that Akademiks responds. That's what an interrogatory is, a request for a response on the things that we want to ask of you. On July 17th, 2022, did you have physical contact? And did you insert your penis into the plaintiff's vagina? Did you have physical contact and insert your penis into her mouth? Did you have physical contact and insert your penis into her anus? In your answer to interrogatories 1 through 3, if they were yes, please identify each person who knows any fact relating to this conduct. So did you communicate with anybody about doing this? If your answer to interrogatories number 1 through 3 was yes, Please identify each writing relating to this conduct, including but not limited to email, text messages, WhatsApp, Signal, sessions, and or social media app messages. What if Cheyenne saw these messages and knows they exist? Please identify the present custodian of each writing identified in your answer to interrogatory number 5. If your answer to interrogatories number 1 through 3 was no, please set forth each fact upon which you base such denial. If your answer, well, I don't know how you can really prove a negative, but if you say it's no, you're basically giving them a chance to get caught in their lie. That's what this means. If your answer to interrogatories number 1 through 3 was no, please identify each person who knows any fact relating to such denial. If your answer to interrogatories number 1 through 3 was no, please identify each writing relating to such denial, including but not limited to text messages, email, all of that. And then please identify the present custodian of each of those writings. And then what documents do we want, guys? What documents do we want? Any statements or reports from any person or governmental entity concerning the civil action or its subject matter. Copies of any and all photographs or videos in your possession of the plaintiff and the defendants on July 17th, 2022 and July 18th, 2022 at the location where plaintiff claims the sexual assault took place. Did she go back on July 28th or July 18th? Maybe this was to say 16th and 17th. You know, sometimes dates screw with me, so let me not read tea leaves there. Copies of any claims information bureau or other insurance claim searches or other documents referencing any prior or subsequent injuries and claims by plaintiff. Copies of any oral or written statements made by any person with regard to all happenings having to do with the subject matter of this action. Copies of any and all. Can you imagine if he has are YouTube comments written statements? Does he have to go and like gather all of his YouTube comments and chat comments from when he was talking about this? Copies of any and all expert reports, reports of diagnostic tests, hospital and medical records, x-rays, CAT scans, and other firms and bills relating to any condition or injury sustained by plaintiff. So I wonder if he had his insurance pay this out for her, thinking it would go away. Copies of all written reports or summaries of oral reports of all expert or treating or examining physicians along with their curriculum vitae, so their CV letter. Copies of any and all books, treatises, commentaries, reports, statutes, codes, all of that, and other published documents referred to, utilized by, or relied upon by any expert witnesses whom the plaintiff or defendant intends to call during the trial. So he's copying and pasting this, guys. I think he was supposed to remove this and make this defendant's, because this is just like a template preparation and he didn't plug and play it. Copies of any and all photographs, diagrams, charts, drawings, maps, plans, models, and other visual reproductions of any object, place, or thing related to this litigation. So give me the floor plan of your house. And then, let's see, anything interesting here? Oh, this is the notice of, hey, we filed this lawsuit against you. So this is them saying to academics, we filed this against you. And I'm assuming they'll send this to, as they discover any John or Jane Does that might be relevant, they'll send the same thing over. So, well, there's that, guys. There is that. Boy. Oh boy. How are you guys doing over here? Let's see. So the lead attorney and AV are going live at 8. Here's a StreamYard link if anyone wants to come up and chat. I'm also going to read through some of these comments. Okay, so Chill says Akademiks never says Zaya's name in his story. That doesn't matter. That doesn't always matter. If there's a reasonable belief that people can know it's her, it doesn't matter. It'll be a point of contention, right, in the case. But at some point, I think the problem is because what she's being accused of is so egregious. It's not just like, oh, she smells bad and she doesn't smell. So. Yeah, and if they have their DNA, they're done. Can it be defamation if he called her girl and shorty because he never did say? So it's the same question. And I want to go back up and look at so all of these we have all of these John Does, Jane Does, and then I'm pretty sure they only mention the names once. I'm gonna make sure I don't scroll past that injury photo. Well, let me just search for slime. Because I don't remember how they spelled Khalif. Okay. I think this was yeah, there's only one result for it. So they only mention the names one time in this whole reading. So it's possible that they still don't know who these others are. But guys, we also don't know, let me pull myself back up on the screen. We also don't know if DJ Akademiks was going and saying the name in text messages to people. Because that's all of a sudden, that's no longer just, oh, he's not using her name. And yeah, like this, there's so much in here that, I mean, I'll read the response. Don't get me wrong. I'll go and read the response. I mean, I hope it's not like the Jeannie Mae and Jeezy where they're like filing 180 pages back and forth at each other. I might not hold my promise if the response is extremely long, but if it's a reasonable length, we'll definitely look at the response. But that's not just for posterity, right? Sometimes that's for posterity. I'll do the reading if there's a response and we'll keep going with a certain topic. But I'm curious. I really want to see how certain things are explained away. And then, yeah, that picture is Batman, the concrete. The concrete. And again, we only got a picture, right? But we're hearing that she was laying there lifeless. So if that's true, and it seems like this, what's either going to happen is we're going to get this video footage, or we're not going to get this video footage. And that's a problem because there's a spoliation. They're told, don't go and delete this stuff. Sorry, scan the picture over, you guys. Where was that? Yeah, you're directed not to prevent spoliation. If you do, that's a problem. That's a discovery violation. You can be sanctioned for that. DJ Akademiks at this point in time, he's acknowledged that these things exist, that they've been accessible before. So if they suddenly disappear, and he was rated already, so that has to, either he pretended that that stuff wasn't there. I don't know. There's a lot that I need some clarity on, but there's a lot. It's like embers to a flame, right? Like it's like it feels like it could just ignite. But I don't know. Because then they're saying they found the blankets dumped at his office. So who went and found them there, right? Somebody's been investigating. And they say here in this suit that part of the defamation per se, where was it? It was an important sentence here. Line 93, on page 19, upon information and belief, Mr. Allen foolishly attributes his lack of arrest or prosecution for drugging and gang raping Miss Abashi as some indication that he and his friends are clear, but nothing can be further from the truth. I wish I had a soundboard with like an alarm button. This is probably the biggest line in all of this. You're not in the clear. And he has not been exonerated. That's important to talk about. And let's use the Courtney Clenny case as an example. Courtney Clenny was never cleared. They just decided not to press charges against her because it looked like on its face, you know, the prosecutor decided we don't have enough here to say, hey, what happened on April 3rd of 2022 where Christian Womselli ended up succumbing to a stab wound or a knife that poked him when she threw it wound. Well, there's not enough evidence here for us to say it wasn't justified. So we can't bring charges forward. But what happened in August, several months later? Well, they have evidence now. They've got some records from Christian Womselli's cell phone, probably with the help of his family and the estate providing evidence. But they have enough there to suggest, hey, this isn't self-defense. We have security footage now. And there's altercations. We've got, cell phone recordings of videos where Courtney seems to be screaming at and possibly hitting. You can kind of hear the sounds in these audios. So yeah, we didn't arrest her back in April. But months later, they scooped her ass up in Hawaii, and she's been sitting in jail ever since. So this line that's highlighted on the screen here, this line number 93, he and his friends are in the clear? Nope, nothing could be further from the truth. Because if you are not exonerated from something, you can still be charged later down the line, unless the statute of limitations runs up. But I would imagine we're only in 2024. This happened in 2022. I would doubt that the statute of limitations is up. So, but you don't know. And then DJ says whatever he texted Khalif and Slime and whatever they texted him about her is going to be nasty. He told her to her face she had a loose pussy. He's likely cooked. Yeah, so what are you telling your friends? You have the audacity. And hilariously, it was on a wired police call. You say something just like that to someone who is complaining to your face that something weird happened, you don't feel good, you think you need to get tested. After all of that, and it's still recent, it's within like a couple of days, like they have her wear this wire and do this call. You have the audacity to say that to someone that sat there and just said, look, I'm all scraped up, I don't feel right, I don't remember this. One guy, what was the other guy doing? Can you show me that? And you have the audacity to say that. What are you talking about with your friends? Like, and yeah, so William, you're coming in here. That's exactly it. Cooked. It seems like it. Again, I'll listen to the response. I'll read the response with an open mind. But reacting to what I have here, cooked is the word. And then Ghost says he said that the video still exists in one of his live streams today. He said something about it on his channel, but did that he would not say much more because he's going to let his lawyers handle it. And that's a smart move. He should have not said anything this whole time. Yeah, he's too famous so he can't be guilty. And then K-Dot said Ack was compromised. Now we see in way more ways than one. Yeah. And I have some questions because in the initial letter where Zaya did her video, I did have a problem. I thought it was weird that her verbiage was, and when you woke up on top of me, I was like, that's a little weird. Like, I need to hear more of this story. But maybe he just got exhausted and passed out. I don't know. But she was holding, I don't know, it looked like maybe an envelope, or like, when you tri-fold paper so they can fit into an envelope. That looks like business. That's how I would expect a litigation letter to be folded up. She had it handed in her hand. And I'm wondering if she wasn't sure if she wanted to do this. Because there's, Tyrone Blackburn came out. We tried to keep this private. We tried to negotiate it in other matters. And my brain runs to, all right, you want a settlement. You want, here, I'll agree not to talk about this if you sign off on XYZ. And he wasn't willing to do that. So maybe that's the sole reason she's coming forward now. But I also wonder if part of it is the social atmosphere with all this stuff going on with Kendrick and Drake, and obviously DJ Akademiks has been like team Drake. If you're seeing that the internet is not playing that and they're being highly critical of not just Drake but also Akademiks, like a lot of that conversation is involving, minors, grooming, potential sexual misconduct. If you're seeing the internet be loud and vocally against that, maybe that is an empowering moment to say, Tyrone, file the suit. Like, I'm good to go now. I'm ready. So maybe it wasn't just because the private settlements didn't work out. Maybe there's also this, the vibe right now is more empowering to file it. Then he also said that they're going to use his videos as evidence against him. This filing this filing transcribes 2 of his videos. So they absolutely are. And he might have known that. If he said that in a video today, he'd already seen the filing, I'm sure. So he already knew that they were going right to his videos and using his words against him. But months ago, and that's the heart of a defamation case, right? You're obviously saying something somewhere, and that thing that you're saying has to be part for you to make your cause of action agreeable. And his opinion is that he said it's a money grab. We shall see what the evidence will show. And it, it could be. It could be. But I came into this thinking, hey, let's go through this and see if it is another money grab. So I kind of look for the counter to the filing, right? We're reading the filing from one party, and I want to read it with ready to counter certain things. And I didn't feel like I had that much room to counter, especially not as we got into the meat of it. In the beginning, there were a few things where I was like, I would need some details there. But who knows? Open mind either way, but this looks really bad for DJ Akademiks, in my opinion. But I've got no skin in the game. I also am not coming from a place where I know about other allegations or his reputation. I've just seen a glimpse today that some people think that there's other stuff that he's done. But I'm not coming from that position. And then Blue, you're late to the party. Yeah, this is wild. This is wild. And so that guy McFly seems like it, but I'm not familiar with that description. I'm not coming into this video or this reading with that type of mindset. But I'm going to, so we have like 24 minutes, guys. So Chill did an 18-minute video, and he largely breaks down the Rolling Stone article about this lawsuit. And, I think all of us in this chat, if you guys were from the Jonathan Majors case, Rolling Stone always seems to be the first for these big, high-profile lawsuits like this. So go look at Chillmonger's video. It's in the description of this video. It's 18 minutes. And if you want to talk about this even further, when the lead attorney goes live at 8 p.m. Eastern, he's usually on TLA time, so, let's say like 8:15. But the chat is a great place to go and share. I'm sure there will be people in there that are doing what Ghost is doing and what DJ's doing and saying, hey, there's these other things that are being said, these other parts that are moving. It's like good crowdsourcing in the lead attorney's chat, because there's always so many people that already know so much about the topic hopping on in. So go check out Chillmonger's videos, 18 minutes. That will carry you right up to the hour to go over to the lead attorney and AV to the 7th Power stream. I'll be in the chat over there, and the links to their channels are in the description. I just don't have a video link because I didn't see it scheduled yet. But Chillmonger, then lead attorney chat, and then Blue and Pam. If you guys are going to do videos on this, gotta let me know so I can retweet them and post them on here for you guys. Other than that, oh yeah, so that's the other point. If you go to Chillmonger's, you can get past the paywall thanks to Chillmonger. He's Robin Hood out here. Well, on that note, Chillmonger's video, Blue's gonna do a video on it, so subscribe to Blue's house. I'm gonna update the description to add his channel as soon as I close this, which is now. Thanks for tuning in. You guys all take care.